So, Larry, thank you very much for taking time to be with us today. We're discussing a little bit of a product or a topic that, you know, some of us find a little bit distasteful. I suppose we all do at some level, but ultimately, it's a dish which we will all indulge in at some point, which is death. So,
Right.
we're talking about death and how we envision. So, when you think of death, what emotions, what visions, what feelings, whatever, what comes to your mind when you hear the word death?
Well, it's interesting that we're talking about this because this past year, our family has experienced this. We lost our my father-in-law in February, my dad in July, and then even because a lot of people, when you ask them about death, they think about either their own death, death of a loved one, but we also experienced the death of two of our beloved animals that and it had different emotions. I've noticed that, right? With death of my father-in-law, but as a Christian, I know where he's at. I know where he went, but it still hurt, right? It's a loss. So most of the time, I think when we think about death, we think of loss, and because we're thinking about the death of someone else. When I envision my death, it's like I think about how do I want to leave? What do I want to leave behind? Is there a legacy? Is there, how do I want people to feel? And, you know, with my father-in-law, we had a typical funeral, the wake, the graveside service. People express their emotions, their condolences. With my dad, we had a remembrance ceremony because he was cremated, and people expressed their joy of being able to spend time with him. So it was two different aspects. It really was. And so with that, I thought for me, I want I want it to be a celebration of who I was, not what's missing or what was taken away. I know the I had a friend that in the military. He was from Guam, and we were stationed together overseas. And I believe it was his father passed away, and so he took 30 days off, right? And it wasn't just to go grieve. They celebrate life for like 2 weeks, and they drink and just eat, and it's a process. So yeah, when I envision when I hear death, it's like I think everybody envisions it differently. What is it going to be? And for me, it's about I want what was my impact? What did I leave behind?
You mentioned your experiences over the last year and a couple of last sort of final rites that you visited, that you attended for family members. What of those experiences in the last year, if you could put your finger on one that kind of sticks in your mind, negative or positive, either one, hopefully positive. What is the most poignant, I guess, memory that you remember from that?
Now, that's a good question. I really think it was when my stepdad passed away, right? Because I knew he wanted to get cremated. That was already taken care of. And I flew into Texas to take care of, because I was the executor. And, his pastor's like, are you planning a celebration of life ceremony or anything? I'm like, well, we haven't really thought about it because I didn't know any of his new friends. And pastor was like, we'll take care of it if you want to do it. It's like, sure. So they did it. And we had like 80 people show up to this thing that was planned at the last minute. I live streamed it for people that couldn't be there. And just to sit and listen to the comments about my dad from people who didn't know my mom, that was, it really stood out because, I know that if it had been revert and my mom had still been there and all these people knew her, this would have been totally different. But that's when it really made me think. It's like, what are people going to say when I'm gone? you know, and who's going to be there, right? So who am I impacting? So that, I think that really stood out, that, and it really surprised me because I learned things about my stepdad that I didn't even know, because he was living a life that I never got to see. So, but I think it was very cool. It really was.
Especially with your experience last year or two, have any specifics that you want or don't want done for your particular, end of life ritual, remembrance, whatever it's going to be called?
So I joke around about this a lot, but I'm kind of really serious about it these days. It's like I want a Viking type funeral. Launch me in a canoe and
Do I
shoot
get
an
to shoot
arrow.
the arrow?
I'm like, I was like, I want you to enjoy, not that I'm gone, but that enjoy the memories um, that you had with me and of me. That's what I want. I mean, and
If you go first, which you probably will, I would love to be at the Viking funeral.
well, practice your archery. I don't want you to miss. Set the woods on fire.
I wonder what that does to the spirit in the interrealm if the arrow
I don't know.
misses. Damn it, you got to hang on a while longer.
I don't know.
So, that's kind of cool, actually. And by the way, it's legal in Colorado now, believe it or not, for all the lakes we have. Maybe that's why they legalized it here, is they know nobody's going to do it. Um, how you envision your end of life ritual, whatever you add to it or not, how does that reflect how you've lived your life and your experiences?
Well, I hope it reflects that my life had meaning. I've been to a few funerals. We've both been to military funerals,
Mm.
and losing a fellow um, veteran or uh, comrade in arms, you it hurts, but you look back and you go, I remember them when, and what they gave. And but I've also been to funerals to where it was depressing, and which most funerals are. And I've always, even as a kid, always asked why. If especially as a person of faith, when you're telling me that what's on the other side, then why are we sad? Why are we sad? It's, to me it sounds it, and I don't want this taken the wrong way, but to me it seems selfish, because I'm not mourning their passing. I'm mad because I no longer have them. And that's and to be honest, I know it's not the same thing, but we just had to put our final dog down, and I mean, this dog was such an influence on our life of joy, and it we bawled our eyes out when we did this, and but then I made sure that I kept thinking about all the great things that he brought to our family. I enjoyed going out, and going out having my coffee on the porch, and he'd come wandering out and stand on the deck like he was, surveying his domain. And
He
the first
was.
day that I went out and he wasn't there, it left a hole in my heart. But at the same time, I thought about every day he was there, and that brought me joy. So I hope that during my passing, that people can look back at the joy that I brought in their life.
I think that's obviously a noble sentiment, one which I would agree. We were at a uh, hospice sponsored sort of event a couple of days ago, and one of the speakers made the comment that grief is actually at its core love,
Yes,
because I don't grieve that which I don't love.
that's right. Well, and I think I sent you the link to the TED talk of my client Ivy, who is a palliative care doctor, and she just gave a TED talk on finding joy in death. And it was amazing, just because what people don't realize, it's like when someone goes into palliative care, into that hospice, it's you know what's coming, right? I mean, it's not like, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm in the hospital. I don't know what I'm going to. No, we gave you a deadline. You know what's coming, so you know how long you have to spend time with them, to just reminisce. And but a lot of people don't do that. My friend just went through that with his mother, and it's like his brother and sister would drop by if they had chance, and they lived in the town. It's like your your mom is about to leave, and why can't you come by and just be there? Make this the happiest time that she could remember. As you and as the term we used when we lost Rhino was, we're going to go love him out. And I think that's exactly what you should be doing in hospice care, is loving them out. I mean, that's the end of days.